Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In today's video I've got two stories for you and both of them have updates. So let's get started with the first one. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user ThroArrayHigh64. Am I the a-hole for not paying my sister's tuition anymore? I, 24, have siblings, 4 female, 13 female, and 19 female, and they have lived with me for 5 years, and our mother is not mentally there. I didn't even know of my youngest sister's existence until she was 2, and a family member expressed concern for her. That is just to give you an idea of how unstable my mom is. My 19-year-old sister, let's call her Emmy, went to college in the fall. Financial aid had covered a really heavy fee and it was left to me to cover about $6,000 after it, which didn't seem too bad considering how much uni is without it. I also agreed to give her $50 a month to sustain herself. I agreed to pay that money for my sister because at the time I really didn't want her taking out any loans. I didn't get the opportunity to go to college. I have been working since I was pretty young and I had my siblings, so there was no way I could juggle a job that would sustain us and college. Now, my sister called me a few days ago and asked for $100 to go out with her friend. I said, I don't have it. She got upset and said that the money I gave her was only enough for her sanitary supplies and she could barely eat out. She has a meal plan and a dorm. I told her for the 5th time to get a job. Guess what she told me after that? She told me I wanted to ruin her college experience because I am uneducated and didn't get a chance to go to college. She said I am placing my anger on her because I am jealous of her. We even argued for a hot minute. She even asked me what I was spending my money on, and I asked her if she knew how much she knew it was to maintain our youngest sister. She said she was in school half the day. My younger sister is in daycare. Public school is free. Daycare is not. I need to work, and in order for me to work, I have to pay an outrageous amount to leave her in a daycare. Now, Emmy is somehow unaware of this and is acting like taking care of 3 of them is a financially easy task. Mind you, this is not the first time she's being selfish. I asked her to apply to be an RA so she could get free housing, but she didn't even attempt to apply. If she got rejected, I wouldn't be upset, but she didn't even turn in an application. After arguing with her that what she said was selfish, I gave in and agreed with her. I told her I was just so jealous that I was not going to pay for tuition ever again, and when she comes home, she can get a summer job to maintain herself or take out a loan. I don't know why I am working myself thin and exhausting myself for someone who doesn't appreciate it. I told her I wasn't joking and was dead serious and hung up. She sent me some apologies after that. Am I being an a-hole and cutting her off? She will still always have a place in my home. I am not leaving her homeless. Or is she just a teenager and I'm being childish? P.S. I understand that me taking in my sibling was my choice, but it wouldn't hurt to receive some thanks for the amount of work I do for them. OP, in my opinion, no, you are not an a-hole, and your sister is not a teenager. She may be 19, but she's an adult, and I think you should actually sit down with her and tell her what your life is about. And I'm not talking about giving her the specifics regarding your own personal life. I'm talking about your life as a family, and that now that she's an adult, she should be able to get a job and pitch in. At least to be able to put herself through school and allow you to take care of the other 2 while you also work and have a life. I understand that she may want the college experience, but unfortunately, her reality doesn't allow for that, and we can't live in fantasy land. I mean, we can try, but the more we avoid reality, the harder it hits when it gets here. So again, OP, no, I don't think you're the a-hole, and I do think you need to sit down with your sister and explain to her the reality that your family's going through and see if she can help out, instead of acting entitled and demanding this of you, which is totally unfair. And what do you guys think? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Catastrophe 8503 says, not the a-hole. You made the decision to take in your siblings and you are providing for them. That doesn't mean you have to provide your adult sister with luxuries. $50 a month is very little. It's also free money she's getting in return for literally nothing. Nobody owes her fun money. You don't even owe her tuition. She should also be actively seeking out resources on campus. Lots of health services places can hook you up with free hygiene products. There are tons of free events on campus and clubs where she can hang out without spending a dime. That's the college experience. It's weird that someone raised by an unstable parent is still this immature and unfamiliar with how life works. If her friends like hanging out with her, honestly, they should just pay her way on the nights they want to go out, or they should find free stuff they can all do together. Part of growing up is making that kind of thing work within everybody's means. And Opie responds, this is what I genuinely don't understand. She doesn't comprehend how much I struggle financially yet. She, the second born. The only reason she was able to get the financial aid she got was because we are dirt poor. When we were talking and she was asking, beside her tuition, what do I really need to spend money on? And I'm thinking, what kind of stupid question is this? How does one grow up poor but can still act privileged and spoiled at times? CT4130 says, not the a-hole. I'm surprised you took them in. Some can and some can't because the financial burden is a lot. That said, kudos for doing so. It is time Emmy stands up on her own. You did a great job helping her get a start. Now she has to take it and run with it. Let her pay her way. That is not your obligation when you have two others to support and help them get a jump on life as well. I think she'll appreciate her college experience more and all you have done when she has to work for it. And Opie responds, is it really that surprising that I took them in? I mean, there is a financial burden, but when the alternative is the foster care system, and we know how the US foster system can be, it is a pretty easy choice. I always hear people say I took them in pretty young, but I feel like anyone with siblings would do the same if they could. Plus, I had a YMCA that helped me a lot. And Literally Taken says, if you can support your siblings without a degree, your sister can support herself, especially when she has a place to live. Have a calmer conversation with her. Say you think it's time to reevaluate how you are handling things, given it seems your sisters are with you permanently. You can't put 3 people through college. All 3 will have to work their way through college. You will help them with a place to live and financial guidance. Tell your sister you know it's a big change in her expectations. You understand she is upset. Tell her that the only way all 4 of you will be okay is if you pull together and work as a team. You already stepped up. You are not her parent. It's time your sister pulls her own weight, not the a-hole. Additional information from Opie's comments. When I was 19, my mom left. She was using and I was worried about her initially, but I found her active on social media and she had found herself a man. Like, she just went without telling anyone and literally did not come back. She has struggled with addiction her entire life and has really burnt bridges in my extended family because of it. Me and my sister lived on our own in the house until the house just became unlivable because of mold, ants, crime rate, etc. So I didn't just move out at 19 or consciously took my siblings away from my mom. My mom just left us and went low contact. I moved out with my siblings around when I was 20 because I couldn't live in those conditions and I couldn't let my siblings stay there without a guardian. So me and my 2 oldest sisters were living on our own without my mom before another family member made me aware that my mom somehow got pregnant again and she really needs help with the baby because she was using. So I have had my 2 eldest sisters for 5 years and the last born for 2 years now. The 4-year-old hasn't always lived with me her whole life. Now, I really don't expect anything in return from my sister. I just don't want her to feel limited or let our upbringing stunt her growth and opportunities. I just feel like I never had anyone encouraging me to do anything beyond what I am doing now. So it's important that my siblings get to know that they don't have to follow my lead and feel like they're only destined to one path because of their economic background. I found out that there is a place that offers a free CNA certificate classes and was thinking about going down that path. I'm not sure yet if it's a path that makes sense for me, but I'm also looking for ways to elevate myself. I'm currently working multiple jobs in retail, fast food, and delivery. So the majority of the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole and that Emmy needs to start pulling her own weight. Now, here's where I've got a question. I understand that Emmy needs to go to school, but OP also has to work, so I would think that Emmy needs to pull her weight and also see if she can pitch in a little bit to help OP. What do you guys think? Am I off the mark? Anyways, let's move on to the update to see how the story ends. Some people have been asking for an update, and I have talked to my sister, and I actually feel bad because I painted her in a bad light because I was upset with where our conversation was going and wanted a validating opinion. But after talking to her, she's home for the summer now. I realize how little she has, like $50 is what covers her hygiene products and school materials. She really feels excluded from experiences, and she just wanted to experience a fun night with her friends without worrying about money, and I think that's pretty valid. I think we both overreacted. Anyways, me and my sister talked about finance. I explained to her where my money goes and also made it clear that I think we should get a loan for what she has to pay next year. This is not to punish her, but I chatted with someone on here and I realized how dangerous it was for me to have nothing saved up. I used all my savings on her tuition, so I'm just not in the best position to give right now. I can't be living paycheck to paycheck when I'm a guardian of 2 other people, you know. I'm gonna ask a family member first if they can loan it to us, but if not, we will just have to do it the official way. But I do believe that she is going to receive a refund next semester, but we still have to think of living accommodations and groceries. I am not gonna show her this post because a lot of you weren't really nice with your delivery and went as far as to compare her to my mom, which for us is the most hurtful thing you can say. She is gonna work this summer. She said she couldn't work in school because of her schedule and how spread out her classes are. I also called my friend that's a graduate to talk to my sister about school resources because I really don't know much about that stuff. As for me, I'm doing okay. Like, I was gonna do a CNA program because it's free, but I think I'm gonna save for an EMT program instead. I don't think the pay is much different from what I am doing now, but I assume that for a job like that, there are benefits like insurance, plus it's more noble, I guess. Kind of scared because I wasn't the smartest in school, but the only requirement was a diploma, so wish me luck. A lot of people were saying I should think about myself. I have goals for myself, I'm just taking my time. Well, OP, good for you about talking to your sister and good for you for your plans for the future considering the financial aid and your future enlistment in the EMT program. I think that what you're doing by taking care of your sisters is already a very noble thing. So on this note, I'm gonna wish you the best in the future, OP. Thank you for sharing and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is also from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user throwawayafklh. Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay rent to my parents? I, 19 female, am in an impasse with my parents, 46 male and 44 female, regarding rent for the house where we all live. Background: when I was in the early high school, my grandmother unfortunately passed away. In her will, she left half of her house to my mother and half to me. She had no other relatives. My whole family moved to my grandmother's house, and we've been living there ever since. When I finished high school, I enrolled into a local college, and honestly, it didn't make much sense to move on campus as living home allowed me to save money. So I continued to live home. Grandma's money also helped cover my tuition, and I have a YouTube channel that generates some income, so I can cover my living expenses and have some left. However, my parents are not happy that I continue to live at home and yet refuse to obey their home rules, like curfew or how much time I spend playing video games, even though video games actually generate my income. or that I don't come upstairs to join them for meals and instead cook my own in the kitchenette downstairs. So they tried to pull the "our home, our rules, either you pay rent or get out" spiel, and I pointed out that it's as much my house as it's my mother's, and whatever rent they charge me, I can charge my father as he isn't on the house deed. I don't mind contributing towards groceries, utilities, and house taxes, but they can't charge me rent for living in a house that I legally own, nor can they kick me out. I am not a kid anymore, and I am not a tenant. They are pissed that I dared to throw the "my house, my rules" into their faces. Am I the a-hole? Well, OP, no, I don't think you're the a-hole. Like you say, you own half of that house, it's yours. They can't kick you out or charge rent. And not only that, but you're an adult that's going to school and you're covering your own expenses. Now, when you mentioned the list of things that your parents don't like, I could be wrong, but I think there's one in particular that could help explain all the others. You mentioned that you don't come upstairs to join them for meals anymore. Now, again, I could be wrong, but I get the impression that they kind of miss you. They just don't know how to deal with the fact that their child is grown up and actually independent. And they are going about it absolutely in the wrong way and actually pushing you away. So maybe you just need to sit down with them and tell them what's what about your life, and maybe you can join them for dinner every once in a while. And what is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Euthanasia63 says, well, you know what? If your parents get to the point of really pissing you off, you can force a sale of the house. It might be relationship ending, but if they anger you enough that you don't even care, you can consult a lawyer and a real estate agent and rock your parents' world. That being said, while you may technically own half that house, utilities, taxes, insurance, and upkeep are going expenses, and they can be substantial and they are totally necessary. If you are paying your part of those bills, you can tell your parents and their rules to stick it, and let your parents know you have options, not the a-hole. And OP responds, don't know if I want to go nuclear just yet, but I'll keep it in mind. Confident Son 9592 says, not the a-hole. They can't charge you rent for a place you effing own. If anything, only your dad can be charged for rent in this situation, unless there's others in the house too. I'd push the situation and make them buy you out. This doesn't bode well for you. And OP responds, well, it's my parents, me, and our family cat. Guess the cat also has to pay rent now. And Review OK 929 says, not the a-hole. Sounds like you're paying towards the cost of that house from the other replies, so they really don't have a leg to stand on. Suggest you get a lawyer and front run this. If they're persistent on it, it could save you trouble. And OP responds, yes, it's not a very expensive house and not in a big city, so the house upkeep and taxes are well within my means. Okay, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and apparently I had a very different read from the whole situation. So how about we move on to the update to see how this story ends? OP's Update 1. All the replies made me realize that my parents might think I am paying for the occurring expenses with inheritance, not with my streaming income, and they might not understand how much I'm actually making playing video games. I'll show them the printouts for the last 3 months and see what happens. Wish me luck. OP's Update 2. I know how much the house is appraised for. I pay my portion of the house tax, homeowner's insurance, utilities, maintenance, etc. And I am saving up for the big house repair that's coming up in 3 years. OP's Update 3. Talked to parents in detail and explained to them what exactly am I doing when I am playing video games in funny costumes, with printouts of time it takes to set the stage, editing time, scripting time, maintaining the community, and how much I am pulling in on average a month. You guys were right, they legit had no idea it can be a viable source of income with prep, and thought I'm just squandering my inheritance on video games. We set my working hours and figured out family time schedule, and they dropped the whole rent issue. Thanks, y'all. Alright, so they just didn't really get what you did for a living. And I can absolutely relate to that. My mom, just up until a few months ago, did not understand that me having a YouTube channel was actually a way for me to support my family. But then they came to visit me and I actually showed her how much work it takes for me to make a video. And then she was like, okay, I get it. It's a job. But anyways, OP, back to you. I think it's a happy update. Your parents dropped it and you guys are gonna have some family time scheduled. So on that note, here's wishing the three of you and your cat the best in the future, OP. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.